I do have copies of the proposal, so you can kind of see the reasoning behind it as well as talk about that. Number one, I would also ask that the committee consider not making any action today. What I would like to do is put this on record and then let it sit for 30 days to give the public the amount of time to be able to discuss it, be able to reach out to us as the commissioners, and then give me time to be able to go out and Commissioner Thomas to go out and speak with the public, because we've been doing that over the last 3 months with both many people for it and many people against it, and there was a lot of reasons behind the two. The reason it's being brought up now is because through discussions with many individuals throughout the county, we're identifying that we have a couple needs that are not addressed in our budgetary process currently, as well as looking to the future. And one of that is school building construction and maintenance, wanting to try to get ahead of that because I'm looking down the line and we are continuing to grow. We're continuing to add students into the community, and we always have to come back and try to find money, and where we find that is usually on the property tax. And so I want to be able to look at that. The second thing is the volunteer fire departments. Volunteer fire services across the country are losing volunteers at a high rate of speed, and I want to be able to help them. I've spoke with many of the fire chiefs in this community, and we're seeing that several of them are struggling to, number one, do fundraising. The second thing is be able to recruit enough volunteers. So part of this proposal would address some fundage for the volunteer fire departments. Now, with that, I would like to try to start back at the beginning. Again, we sent out a copy. The number one thing that I would like to point out is that there would be a property tax reduction in this of 19 cents. That is estimated. I've spoke with both with Tanya Davis as well as others, that this would be between $110 and $400 reduction across the board for most, if not all, of our property owners. And with that, it allowed us to be able to go and identify how many vehicles we currently have, and the fee breakdown would be $48 for the passenger vehicle, motorcycle plates of $25, commercial plates at $130, semi-trailers at $100. And then the two main categories that we wanted to make sure that we did not impact was our farmers and our disabled veterans, and both of those would be zero. And so we wanted to make sure that we were not negatively impacting our farmers and our disabled veterans. So that, in turn, with all of the current growth that we have and the 60,000 plus vehicles that we have in the county, would bring in an estimated $3.399659 million. Now, off the top, 73% of that would go straight to replacing the property tax. And so a overwhelming majority of this is to try to bring down property taxes in the county. 3 years in a row, the property tax owners have taken the blunt of the raises, and this is trying to be able to help spread out that burden to all citizens that are adults in this county. And so with that, that is the motivation behind that. It is not a money grab. It is not trying to bring in additional money to the county. What this is trying to do, not one penny goes into the general budget. The $850,000 would go into capital outlay for educational purposes, and the $101,000 would go directly to the volunteer fire departments. Not one penny would go into the general budget. This is not to get additional money for anybody, no salaries. This is not trying to do anything on the county side. This is trying to help our schools and trying to help those volunteer fire departments. So with that, there are some provisions that we would like to implement in this plan, and we have and we have done so in the resolution. Number one, that we have dictated that the wheel tax cannot be raised more than $5 per year. Along with that, the wheel tax the rate cannot change unless it goes back to referendum. And that was the other point that I should have mentioned from the get-go, is this would not be a decision at the county commission level. This would be for referendum for the people to decide. The other is that the funds would be permanently placed at the above percentages of what we talked about, and then any change of those percentages would be required to have a 2/3 vote of the commission. And with that, also senior citizens that qualify for tax relief would also be exempt from the wheel tax. We have tried very hard to protect the vulnerable individuals in our county to make sure that we did not add an increased burden on them, but they also would reap the benefits of the 19-cent tax reduction for those senior citizens. And so we looked at different ways. This is not something we came up with overnight. We've been working on it for 3 months. We have spoke with many, many individuals in this county. We spoke with many of the employees of the county, and we're trying to find the best way to impact our Bedford County citizens. And this is something that we truly feel that we need to try to do, is to try to lower property taxes in the county. And at the current time, this is the option that we feel like that is the quickest option to be able to impact our taxpayers and get their tax reduction.
And as Drew said earlier, this entire wheel tax proposal, property tax reduction, would be decided on by the voters. It would be referendum. The commission themselves are not going to make this. This is going to be up to the population to decide if they want this. This is not going to be something that is forced upon the county. It's going to be up to the county if they want this.
I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has.
First one I got is, I assume that we is referring to you two.
Yes.
Are the ones that put this forward. This did not come from the finance.
No, this come from me and Commissioner Thomas.
And it's one of the first things that I would be interested to know is who asked you for money and how'd you figure out what the amount was that you would do?
So this is based off the conversations that we've had throughout the county, but a lot of it was talking with the proposal that Commissioner Vick and Commissioner Boutwell, and I know this doesn't fit the entire amount, but what we were trying to do is be fair on both the taxpayer side for the property tax owner, and then be able to bring in as much revenue as possible for those particular building projects.
You said earlier, you talked to the employees of the department. What department and employees have you talked to? Because I have not received a phone call.
No, I'm not, I was not able to talk to all. We went and met with,
You said numerous.
well,
You ought to
we've
know
met
who
with
to talk
Tanya Davis, we've met with Donna Thomas, we've met with John T. Bobo, and then again, I've met with dozens and dozens of constituents to be able to discuss this, both for and against.
We're going to talk to very few employees. Not
Now,
all.
again, we are still working through that process, and that's why we're asking for the 30 days to continue this conversation. This is not just that's why we're not asking for you to make any decisions today. We're continuing to talk through this to be able to put forth the best proposal possible.
I also have another question for this committee, Mr. Chairman. Nothing against anything. The county needs revenue sources. That's what we've done back in budget time. We went talking about wheel tax, which is talking about trying to find revenue to help the county. Wheel tax is just one of those items. So that all got misconstrued and all the stuff that went on. So I want to do that for the record. Everybody understands that. It was just a revenue, looking for revenue sources from the state government to allow us to look for it. I have a little bug with this because I've done my own homework. Everybody who's sitting on this committee, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else, this is just more. The people sitting on this finance committee, by you, and by another commissioner, and another commissioner, said every single one of us sitting here at this table is ignorant, stupid, and dumb. That may be what people think, but I want to make sure to ask the question that I'm probably not as stupid as what I look, what I act like. So I have reached out to CTAS to ask about procedure, about how things happen. Nothing personal against you or your proposal, but according to what my information is from CTAS, is this is against state law. Two commissioners bring something before the table. I do not want to be a part of something illegal at all. I'm as honest as the day is long, and I'll make the right decision for the people and what I need to do with doing it. So I would like to make sure, I would like to put a motion that could this be researched by CTAS of how this procedure works with two commissioners who have to vote on it. According to CTAS, this is a violation of the Sunshine Law, because they've already admitted, they've already talked to other people too, so I want to make sure that whatever we do, whenever it comes back next month, we are all, you included, we're all legally doing the right thing for the citizens of this community.
So is your motion to defer this for clarification from
Well,
CTAS?
they want it deferred anyway to next month, but I would like to have,
Yeah, and just to answer your question, our first conversation was with John T., and we did request that and asked that we make sure we were in compliance with Sunshine Law. And when we spoke with him and met with him, he was in agreement with that.
I didn't call John T., because John T. worked for the county.
Mhm.
I called CPAS, who works for all 95 counties in the state. And they have state law supersede John T.'s law, county law, or anything else. So that's why I wanted to hear it straight from the horse's mouth about what we can do and what we can't do. I've been in this government work for a long time, and I've never done anything illegal or wrong, and I'm not going to charge this point.
Well, and I wouldn't ask you to.
No, and I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying, this is not a dig towards y'all. The county needs to look at revenue sources going forward. I was a big proponent of that when it come up the first time. But we got to do it the legal and right way, because this could turn around and bite anyone and all of us, especially this whole community. It could bite y'all as commissioners, it could bite the mayor, it could bite all of us if we don't do it the right way. I'm not saying it's not the right time to talk about it, what I'm saying is,
Make sure the process is correct.
make sure the process is correct, and I want an opinion from CPAC saying that it's either correct or we need to change some rules here on the county side.
Now, I think Mr. Yaki wanted to make a comment.
Okay.
Are you making the motion, or are you just talking at the moment?
So I'm making a motion that I would
That we
like to
defer
reach out to, well, they want to defer it anyway the next month, correct? So I'm not going
Yeah,
against
but their
what they
request
want.
and the action of the board is not necessarily the same.
But,
I mean, that's their request, but the
Okay.
action of this board
yeah, I would
would
like
be,
to defer this and stop this discussion at this point in time, just because I want to make sure we're doing this right and legal, where no one gets in any kind of trouble somewhere down the line. Because the way the world is now, everybody's out here like ambulance chasers, and they look for some kind of thing to jump on somebody with. I just don't like it myself. First, I want to make sure we're all covered.
I'm sorry, Mark, but I'd like to keep on talking about this.
is there a second, hang on, I'm working this right here. Is there a second to his deferring it? or-
Second.
Okay, so the motion is second to defer. Now, you want to amend that to speak? You want us to
Oh,
vote as to-
absolutely.
Okay, so she's not in agreement with that. Your motion is to continue debate,
Just discussion.
discussion? All right, and so, but the motion is, and second is here, so I need,
We need to vote on this first.
yeah, I take it you're not going to accept her.
I want that voted on first.
Okay,
So that means it's not just.
right, okay. So, you can raise your hand when your name's called. You can go for or against, but the motion, the current motion and second on the floor for consideration is to defer this from any further discussion and get clarification from CTAS to be brought back to this body so that we're informed going forward, whatever happens in this process. Are we in agree that's the motion and the second?
For this to be a proper process to listen and make sure we all get together.
So if you're in favor of deferring this and not going any further today, can you raise your right hand? See if I can figure out how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is your hand up or down? Your hand's
Down.
It's down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is to, okay. So that is the majority, right? Okay, so, all right. So for now, that's on pause. Next month, we'll bring back what we can find from CCAS